Okay, I once again put another poll up on the community tab and you guys wanted to see the creepiest advertisements, so here we go. Now, creepy and advertisement usually don't go hand in hand within the same sentence, but sometimes when a client is looking to evoke a specific feeling from its target audience, it can happen. And so in this video, we're going to be going over the eeriest, the creepiest, and the spookiest advertisements that there is to offer. This is the Creepiest Advertisement Iceberg Explained. Up first, we have Dumb Ways to Die, a very popular advertisement that was released in November 2012 and became a viral sensation overnight due to its catchy tune, fun little characters, and its jokes. The song starts off with, as the title would suggest, a lot of dumb ways to die, but throughout starts to sprinkle in a few death by train references. The reason for this was that Dumb Ways to Die wasn't just a little fun song looking for internet fame or anything, it was actually a train advertisement aimed at young people who weren't looking to hear a PSA about train safety. What happened instead was that it went viral and everyone heard the messages. It isn't exactly creepy despite these little cute blobs getting absolutely demolished with every story, but this is the top of the iceberg, it's nothing serious, everyone knows Dumb Ways to Die. So let's move on. Little Baby's Ice Cream. So this thing exists. I've been aware of this advertisement for a while, but up until recently I didn't realise that it was real. I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was an actual advertisement, I thought it was like a parody. I get that all publicity is good publicity in that. This video, just like the Dumb Ways to Die video, went viral and it's been seen by over 17 million people around the world. I completely get that if people see this, they'll start talking about it, and that's the idea. Only thing is, I don't know if someone would go out and buy Little Baby's Ice Cream because of this ad. The thing is just so creepy, it's so offbeat. Apparently the rest of the world had the same feeling because unfortunately in 2019, Little Baby's Ice Cream shut down. But not before getting dragged into the whole Pizzagate conspiracy thing. The story of Little Baby's Ice Cream is actually a whole lot more interesting than I ever thought it would be. Various anti-smoking adverts. This one is more general, but nonetheless, some of these can be very creepy and rightfully so. When it comes to smoking, people have tried basically any means necessary to try and prevent others from picking up the habit due to its disastrous effects on the human body. And apparently one of the most effective ways to do that is to scare people into not smoking via completely terrifying adverts. They also give facts and pictures on cigarette packets and such. I mean, there's no specific adverts that they're talking about in this entry, they're just talking about anti-smoking advertisements as a whole, so there's not really much more else to say. I'm sure everyone here has seen an anti-smoking advert, but I think it's also my duty to state in this video that if you're already a smoker, take some patches please. And if you don't smoke already, please do not. From someone whose life has been affected by smoking, it's an awful, unhealthy habit, and its effects can be sourced from different things. Even if you want to relax, there are better ways, so please don't pick up smoking. The Yoshi's Island restaurant advertisement came out in 1995 in both the USA and Japan. While the Japanese ad was nice, it was just a tame clip of some of the visuals of the game, just a bit of gameplay, you know, what you would expect a normal advertisement to be. The advertisement that aired in the USA, how do you explain this? Yoshi's Island isn't known for its gross out factor, nor is it known for its obesity. It's just an obese man being asked when enough is enough because they just have so many new levels. Could it be too much? No. Not like food can be, no. It's an extremely weird and off-putting advertisement just because the ad doesn't have anything to do with Yoshi's Island. It almost seems more like a PSA for obesity than a game advertisement. I'll be remembering it for a while, I'll say that, but would I be more likely to buy the game after watching this? Hell no. Bloke blows up and they expect me to buy a video game. Awful advertisement. Unnecessarily weird. It's just a no-go. Speaking of Nintendo, we have the You Cannot Beat Us advertisement, another extremely weird and just bizarre way to try and get people to buy the NES in 1987. It's almost hypnotic and reminds me of the Sony advertisement that I spoke about in my PlayStation Iceberg, which you should watch by the way, if you haven't already. The advertisement is almost hypnotic in nature, as I said, and the characters that speak are just extremely robotic, it's almost evil. It kind of sounds evil. According to the Curse Commercials wiki, this advert might have made people in Australia, which is where I assume the advert was aired, go out and buy other consoles because, this thing is weird. I'm not sure a lot of parents would see this and decide to buy the NES for their kids. I would watch this and go, yeah, we're not doing that, let's go get a Dreamcast or something, you're not getting this, you're being brainwashed. Mr. Buckets. I'm going to make this a quick one because it's just You know, what? Okay, let's just play 10 seconds of this, and you can tell me why this might be considered creepy.
I'm Mr. Bucket. Toss your balls in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket. Out of my mouth I will pop. I'm Mr. Bucket. Walking around. I'm Mr. Bucket.
The game's Mr. Bucket. The first to get their balls into Mr. Bucket wins.
Perhaps not creepy in the traditional sense, but whoever wrote this and whoever greenlit this jingle needed to be fired. Like, no one on the production of this thought that it was anything just slightly off, just a little bit off with the jingle. I just thought that it had to be included on this because it's just off. It's just off. So let's move on. The Eat Like a Snake advert is a Burger King commercial that aired in South Korea and is quite literally what it says on the tin. It's just a dude that snakes around and steals a burger from his mate, reminiscent of a serpent. There's not much more else to say about it, but it definitely would stand out, I assume, and the CG is definitely quite interesting in a weird, off-putting way. It's definitely, I'd say, a tinge of creepy there. The Snickers Halloween commercial is one that I actually want to talk about a bit more in depth. Less about the advertisement itself, but more as to why some people might find it creepy. I think that at Halloween time, you're allowed to pull less punches. Scary advertisements are fair game, but this one definitely takes advantage of the holiday. This thing is fairly creepy, but have you ever wondered the science behind creepy? This advertisement takes advantage of the uncanny valley effect. And for those of you who know what it is, good for you, but in case you've forgotten or you don't know, let me fill you in. For some reason in humans, there is a weird phenomena whereby the closer something looks to human that isn't human, the more we dislike it. What's more scary, this little tin robot or a well-designed, near-realistic robot? The same rule applies here. The more something looks like us, the less we like it. This is why several horror movies and TV shows have human-ish monsters with weird proportions, because they look almost normal. They remind us of humans, but they're not human. The mask has exaggerated lips, cut-out and dark eyes, a freakishly long arm, and it's absolutely huge. And so whilst it has human features, they're not right. Thus human, but not. Its frame is intimidating, its touchiness is uncomfortable. This thing is designed well to be creepy. The 1970s giant Mr. Potato Head advertisement is just a bit whack and kind of goes to show evidence for something. I don't really know what to say for this one. Giant Mr. Potato Head is just a monstrosity and it has to be put down. Like, someone made this, someone made the costume, someone shot it, someone edited it, someone thought this thing was good to go on air. It's so clearly, inadvertently creepy because there is no way that Mr. Potato Head is trying to use fear as a tactic to try and get more sales. But regardless, they made this thing to the horror of every young boomer watching. Either way, it was made, it's weird, it's a little creepy. I mean, what else can I say? I'm not going to sit here for like 5 minutes and talk about Mr. Potato Head. Let's just move on. So when I saw the KFC Lie Detector entry, I watched a more recent advertisement about it and thought that it was relatively tame. Then I dug a bit deeper.
You should never get too deep.
And found out that it was paying homage to a 1967 advert with the real original Colonel in it, which in the advert he's been hooked up to a lie detector test by some people that wanted to know the secret formula to his fried chicken. This is made creepy by the creative filmmaking. It reminds me of the Matilda movie, if you've seen that. Some low angle close-ups, almost fisheye and visual. There's not too much else I want to say about it, but KFC's always had a thing for slightly ajar adverts. They don't mind a spooky advert, hence why they probably referenced it 50 years later. Domino's Avoid the Noid advert goes so much deeper than surface value. It's an advertisement that, while not exactly creepy, is slightly maybe off-putting in a weird way. Basically, back in the 1980s, Domino's released this advertisement that you're seeing, saying the only way to avoid the Noid is to eat Domino's. Noid is another word for annoying or frustrated, and the character of the Noid was meant to be a manifestation of how annoying it is to not get fast delivery time or quality pizza. So why is this advert that you're seeing right now, why is this more than meets the eye? Hyping up your product is typical for adverts. Well, unfortunately, in 1989, a mentally ill man who had the coincidental name of Kenneth Lamar Noid thought that the advertisement was actually aimed at him. It was an attack on him. And he took 2 employees in a Domino's restaurant in Georgia hostage. He demanded $100,000 in cash and a white limousine as his getaway. However, whilst he was negotiating, he got hungry and ordered the hostages to make him 2 pizzas. As he ate the pizzas, the hostages made their escape and Noid surrendered, but not before firing at the police. He was found not guilty by means of insanity and was sentenced to a mental institution, dying in 1995, and many thought that this was the reason why Domino's stopped airing the Noid character. Domino's said it wasn't, but the general consensus was that this was a very kind of tragic event. They would just retire the Noid. This was until the 2010s, however, when the Noid started slowly making his way back into the fold, and recently he's been the focus of some adverts, so he is back now, the Noid is back. The Japanese McDonald's Adverts. For those of you who have fears of clowns, be glad you're not from Japan, because imagine if every time you saw a little Happy Meal advert, instead you had to watch this. This does not make me hungry for a Big Mac. I'm not in the mood for McNuggets. I don't have an appetite for a McFlurry, unfortunately. I did a bit of research as to why Japan loves these sorts of commercials, and apparently in Japan, non-conformity is the primary way of engaging with viewers and making them watch on, which is very fair. A good advert should have some sort of emotional resonance with the viewer, whether that make them hungry, whether that make them sad, whether that make them laugh, whether that make them, scared. Japan just loves to scare people though. Japan just apparently seems to take things to an absolute 11 and just goes all out compared to, say, a British advertisement, which is much more of a general nudge to a product. It's like, hey, we have a product, buy it. Whereas Japan has Ronald McDonald trying to get into your house. We don't like big bursts of energy or anything, but they do, and I think that the cultural difference between advertisements is very interesting. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but let me know down in the comments. What are adverts like in your country? Are they weird and wacky like the Japanese, or are they just tame like the British? The weirdest thing we have is like Go Compare or Compare the Meerkat or something. We don't have anything offbeat or creepy, not really, it's not the status quo. We just have tame little kind of nudges in the right direction of buy our product. Fragile monsters. Okay, this is starting to get a good bit creepy now. The advert starts off a little bit weird with a selection of young children giving blank stares towards the camera. They don't look happy. It's then revealed that they're looking at monsters. And yeah, when it comes to the horror genre, there's something about putting children in danger that sets off perhaps a biological kind of response. Children are a very common trope as the monsters themselves. Think of The Shining or Chucky or those weird little British kids that are talking in sync and stuff. I don't know who they are, but that kind of stuff. But they can just as easily be something to be sympathised with in an extreme manner. The advertisement itself takes full advantage of that and is actually about alcoholism and how to young children, monsters can actually be very real. It's scary, it's offbeat, it has such an important message, it's creepy through and through, and in my opinion, it's actually a very strong PSA. It's creepy and that's the point. Fantastic little PSA. The Virgin Mobile Stalker advertisement. I mean, it exists. Basically, the advert revolves around a deranged stalker that's camped outside the house of a guy that she just went on a first date with in the trees. She speaks well about Virgin Mobile and how it allows her to do all of her stalking, and that's the advert. It's actually kind of creative, even if it is a bit like, oh shit. I wish that there was something a bit more for me to go into, but like a lot of these, this video is just more about showing the adverts rather than provoking any debates like I've been doing recently. It's up on YouTube if you want to see it, but it's just a woman stalking a guy, and a Virgin mobile phone allows her to do that. Oh man, okay, this one is creepy, I will admit it. It's Mattel's baby secret doll. This advert launched in 1966 and is unintentionally one of the creepiest things you'll ever see.
I want to tell you something.
It's almost unbelievable.
I know a secret, do you?
If you don't like Chucky, you really won't like this doll because essentially you pull the string and then it whispers to you. I think back to the Uncanny Valley thing, if a baby's gonna tell me something, I really don't want it to whisper. This thing is plain creepy. I'm sure that there must have been a child or two that hated this thing, it's just plain weird. Don't whisper to me, baby, don't whisper. And lastly, we have the Luke Stahler Stage 9 AIDS advertisement, which, for those of you who don't know, is a 1977 advertisement that is meant to be promoting condom use as a way of preventing AIDS. They do this by scaring the crap out of you because with audio this thing is messed up. Essentially, there's this guy, Luke Stahler, and the entire advert is simply him trying to get out of bed. It's simple, but this advert gives me the shivers. It's absolutely creepy. It's a fantastic way to try and promote condom use because this is a scary, scary reality that a lot of people face, or at least did back in the day. So that's it from me. Apologies if none of these entries were longer than usual. I generally found that there isn't too much to know about these adverts compared to my usual videos. But if you enjoyed the content, please do subscribe. We are knocking on the door of 5k and would love for you to be a part of the community. Also, join the Fox Akimbo Discord. I've been chatting in the voice chat there for a while now, and so if you're a viewer, don't be afraid to join it. We would love to have you in there. Follow me on Twitter and also Instagram, support me on Patreon, and send any icebergs you have to foxakimbo@gmail.com for a chance to be shouted out in a video. This iceberg chart was made by Pendant Hex Studios, who I believe did it in collaboration with Walrus61, so shout out to both of them. Finally, let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see me do next, as I'm only 44 videos in and I'm already out of ideas. Thank you for watching.